Namaste. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today is the 5th of September 2014. The following is the Vedic astrology reading for Joan Rivers, based on the 8th of June, 1933, at 2 a.m. in Brooklyn, New York. Now, Joan Rivers, as many of you know, was an actress, comedian, writer, producer, television host. She was the second daughter of Russian Jewish immigrants. She graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Barnard College in 1954. She rose to prominence in 1965 on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. She went on to author 12 best-selling books, and then she died yesterday, September 14th, following cardiac arrest, which happened because during a procedure on her vocal cords. Her first marriage in 1955 only lasted 6 months, and she had it annulled. And then her second marriage was for 22 years. She married in July 1965 to Edgar Rosenberg, who ended up committing suicide on May 15th, 1987. And she has one daughter, Melissa. Now, using the systems approach for interpreting horoscopes and Vedic astrology, we see that in the first house, the 12th sign of the zodiac was ascending at 10 degrees 57 minutes of Pisces. So this gives Pisces rising sign, which is a water sign. Water sign persons are very creative. And I often say the 12th and final sign of the zodiac relates to the 12th house. And the 12th house is Mokshastan, the house of spirituality and spiritual progress. So she's Pisces. Now in the second house of speech, we have the first sign Aries. A lot of Pisces persons will have a very sharp tongue because Mars rules their house of speech. So they're very courageous and direct with their speech. In the third house, we have the second sign Taurus, and Sun is in Taurus, making her very earthy and practical and self-made. Sun is a royal planet, and this is a house of self-efforts and self-initiatives and entrepreneurial success. So it gave her royal success, working on independent projects. In the fourth house, we have the third sign Gemini, with Mercury in its own sign of Gemini, conjunct Venus. Now, Mercury is communications, and Venus is the arts. So this is communication arts. Venus is entertainment. Because both these planets at 6 degrees are close to the rising sign of 10 degrees, then their aspect opposite where they sit is applicable. And this is the 10th house of career, the 9th sign of Sagittarius, but the 10th house of career. So Mercury and Venus strongly influence the 10th house of career. And Mercury's communications, and Venus is the arts, communication arts and entertainment. In the 5th house, we have the 4th sign Cancer. So Moon rules her mind and her children. In the 6th house, we have the 5th sign Leo. And we have Ketu, the southern node of the Moon, at 8 degrees. And we have Jupiter at 21 degrees and Mars at 22 degrees. We'll come back to these momentarily. In the 7th house, we have the 6th sign Virgo, 8th house, 7th sign Libra. 9th house, we have the 8th sign Scorpio with Moon in Scorpio. Now, Moon rules his 5th house and is placed in the 9th house. One of the ancient sages, Parashara, says that when the ruler of the 5th house is in the 9th house, the person can have fame and fortune through authorship. And she was a writer initially for the Johnny Carson show, and she did author 12 best-selling books. And the 9th house is the house of Dharma, and Moon represents the public. So this can give public favor. In fact, if you notice that Sun and Moon are exactly opposite each other. So this only happens when there's a full moon. So Joan Rivers was born during a full moon, And full moon people do get public recognition. People always say, look, there's a full moon. Normally people don't say, look, there's no moon. So full moon persons can get public recognition, but it does create some disconnect between the heart and the soul. So the full moon person may have some public recognition, but some internal conflict. In the 10th house, we have the 9th sign, Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is a planet of divine grace, good luck, and good fortune, and it rules her career. Now Jupiter is in this 6th house with Mars. Mars rules the 2nd house of speech, and Jupiter rules the 10th house of career. And this is the 6th house, which can be conflict. So often her speech created conflict. Even though she was very humorous and had a good following, she often created conflict. And there were individuals who hated her and were upset with her for the things that she said. And this is the house of conflicts and disputes and enemies and false allegations and mental tension. See, Jupiter also represents husband, and it's in this house of tension and mental issues. So I do think that contributed also to his own suicide. Maybe he also had some health issues. So over here in the 11th house, we have the 10th sign, Capricorn, and Saturn retrograde at 23 degrees. Saturn's in the house of income and gains. And sometimes when Saturn's in the house of gains, the person gains money from working with older persons and working with blue-collar persons. So she may have had a lot of fans who were either senior citizens and or working class persons. In the 12th house, she has the 11th sign, Aquarius, with Rahu, the northern node of the moon, in the 12th house.